Our commencement speaker is Carey Sobel, a highly successful local entrepreneur and alumni who is an owner of Boss Group International, a mergers and acquisitions firm that helps people buy and sell businesses. For the past 12 years, he served as Chief Strategy Officer for his award-winning marketing agency before selling it earlier this year. He is also Chief Marketing Officer for Coastal Investment Company, a private equity firm that has raised more than $300 million in the first 36 months in business. His professional honors include earning the Orlando Business Journal's 40 Under 40 Award, UCF's 30 Under 30 Alumni Award, the inaugural Young Alumni Award at UCF's Shining Knights ceremony, and the Entrepreneurial Alumni Award during the UCF College of Business Hall of Fame event. He lives in Orlando with his wife, fellow alumni Lauren, and their children, Marley, Sloan, and Lennon. Please join me in welcoming Carey Sobel.
Good morning. What a privilege it is to share one of the most important milestones of your lives with you today. I know it will be a day that neither myself or any of you ever forget. First, I want to congratulate you. You did it. No matter how many times you struggled to go to class or stay awake as that lecture droned on, or prove to be as relentless as the hangover that you had the night before. It probably felt like you might not ever get here, but you kept putting one foot in front of the other. You kept showing up, and today you can say that you showed up enough times to call yourself a UCF alumni. And as a fellow alumni several years down the road, I can say from my experience that life is like that. Sometimes the only way to get through the challenges are to put one foot in front of the other on the floor and just show up. Some of you are pretty clear on your path. You think you know where you're going. Others have a vague idea in the direction that you might pursue. Some of you have no idea what you're doing and where you're going to go, and boy, are you in trouble. Totally kidding. But I can tell you that regardless of which category you fall into, chances are things aren't going to go as planned. The good news is what is meant for you will not pass you by as long as you stay aware. The anecdotes that I share with you today do not come from highs or successes that I've experienced. They come from the tough times, and they have a common theme of resilience. Several years back, somebody said to me, "You know, Carey, you're like a human octopus." And I thought to myself, if I'm gonna be an animal, I'd rather be a tiger or a lion, something fierce, not a damn octopus. And all I could take from that comment was that I had tentacles moving around, gaining business opportunities and different things that I was seeking to do, and that I was the jack of all trades and master of nothing. Then one day, somebody that I was working with professionally had said to me, "Carey, what do you know about the octopus?" Ironically, at this point, I went down a deep, dark hole of National Geographic researching the octopus, and what I found totally changed my perspective. First, I was flattered. Many of you may not know this, but the octopus is considered one of the most intelligent species on the planet. Most of us just think of it as calamari. But I learned that the octopus is highly interactive with its environment. Its entire being is gathering information, reaching out, touching, feeling, tasting, and using its arms to interact with its environment. They scour the pitch black floors of the ocean, feeling their way through the ocean. They're also highly adaptive to their environment. They change texture, they change size, and they can even change color, in spite of being colorblind. They don't have to see a color to be a color, and they do this in seconds. What's really mind-blowing is their ability to regenerate a tentacle that gets injured while exploring. Apparently, the mantra of the octopus is that it has exactly what it needs to survive. They simply find a way, and they show up. I grew up in a middle-class suburban family in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Go Birds. I was provided for. I had all of my essential needs met. In fact, I had a wonderful upbringing. When my family relocated to Florida in 2004, in my senior year of high school, I found myself with very few friends, very few connections. What I did have was a skill set of being a DJ at a young age. I saw an opportunity to use this skill set to make connections, many that are a part of the remarkable network that I still rely on today. Not to mention I made some pretty good money. Things were going well, a lot of friends, a way to make some pocket money, and my first real foray into being a businessman. Then the summer between my freshman and my sophomore year, my parents called me home. I drove a couple hours south to South Florida. They quietly sat me down and told me our family, like many other families at the time, were in dire financial straits. They said, "Carey, we can no longer help you with UCF, can't pay for any of your living expenses, hell, we can't pay for any of ours. But we know that you have the resilience to figure this out." Needless to say, this was pretty shocking for me at the time. The fear I felt for my parents and the resilience that they had in me in understanding that I could get through this was enough for me to promise myself that I would never find myself in this position again. And that day, my friends, was the day that I became an octopus, whether I knew it or not. The next year, I co-founded a website with a college buddy of mine that, with a lot of hard work and not a little luck, turned into a thriving business venture. As our business grew, we had to adapt to technology changes, as most businesses do. We turned into making a technology platform that, without a little naivete, we thought would be the next Facebook, real Mark Zuckerberg type of stuff. We did end up pitching a billion-dollar company. We raised $500,000 in seed capital, and we inherited a strategic partner along the way. We were on top of the world. We got into the UCF Business Incubator program. We got an on-campus house located on Research Park for our office. And we even had UCF interns working for us while we were still enrolled at UCF ourselves. Everything was going swimmingly. And then, bang. Because we failed to understand the maturity needed to manage a technology enterprise at that level, we found ourselves without our platform and with no more money. 5.5 years of effort, and we were drowning. With all of that effort, I felt like I had nothing left from that entire venture. And you can probably feel, or maybe understand how I felt at the ripe age of 22. I was considering whether I wanted to be an entrepreneur anymore. Graduating UCF that summer added a little extra pressure, as the direction of my life was unclear as the company collapsed underneath me. I was going through some of my things preparing to move with all of these thoughts swimming through my head, and I came across a slip of paper, a fortune that I saved from a cookie that I had ate several years ago. This fortune reads, "It's the small steps that you take that ultimately bring you great fortune." Well, took a step back, stopped in my tracks, and the depression lifted. And instead of believing that it was going to be one big thing that was going to galvanize my future, instead I had, through this failure, many small accomplishments and steps that were leading me on a journey of self-discovery and giving me the confidence I needed that I was on the right track. Using the network that I built over the years, I applied the skills and knowledge to build 6 different businesses in Orlando between 2010 and 2015 alone. I had been a disc jockey, a director of community outreach, a restaurateur, a realtor, a marketing project manager, among several other things. I was actually behaving like a human octopus, reaching out and using the resources available to me. I was blind to what I was doing until I was called out as an octopus, and while the rest of my story has plenty of ups and downs, the short of it is I made the decision to embrace each step along the way, to own each failure, to face each challenge, and to wander into the unknown spaces around me. I had unwittingly chosen the octopus role that provided me the financial security that I promised myself I would have all those years ago. And as I challenge you to think about embracing this role for yourselves, I can say without fear of contradiction that the octopus is my mascot, right up there with Nitro. If there's one thing you take from what I share with you today, it's to embrace every experience along the way that is a part of your journey. Embody every conversation that you have with every friend, with every colleague, with every coworker. Every project that you work on, big or small, everything that you learn, embrace it. And whether you continue in academia or you pursue the professional career that you're choosing, stay a student. Never stop learning. I encourage you that UCF is not the past. You are bringing it forward. Think about the tentacles of UCF showing up in places that you least expect. Because UCF is a resource as rich as the ocean if you allow the opportunities to meet you. I believe that emotional intelligence is single-handedly the most important thing that you can continue to study. The ability to manage your own emotions and understand the emotions of those that you engage with is such an incredible skill set. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. In fact, if you are, you're in the wrong room. And I encourage you to strive to be the most empathetic person in that room instead. Watch and see what happens. Be resilient, stay responsive, and know that each small step that you take will propel you to build a life that you love, the life of your dreams, not some fantasy that leaves you empty-handed, or even worse, empty-hearted. Be comfortable with the unknowns at this point. That's the beautiful part about your journeys. The pages are unwritten. Your destiny calls you. Go like the octopus. And explore with every fiber of your being. Congratulations to you all. Go Knights!
Thank you, Carey. Great job. I'm not sure how many people here expected to hear about octopus this morning, but that's where we are. I do appreciate you sharing your experiences and the difficulty that sometimes we face, and yet you then turn that into 6 different businesses that have had a great impact on this region. So thank you so much for being such a great night.